All right, I'm excited. Gonna talk about this stuff again. Woo! Okay, I'm Dr. Beth Westy, and we're gonna be talking about eating for your hormones and a different way to look at your nutrition. So, in starting, bit of background information is to really understand how your cycle works and what hormones are in play during different weeks. So, if you don't know where you're at in your cycle, it's important to kind of keep track of where you are. If you are on some type of birth control or you've been through menopause or have some other health condition or something going on, know that you still have hormonal shifts in the body. They happen on a smaller scale, so this will still apply to you, just in a slightly different way. So if you have questions on that, I'll go through and I'll put some information where you can find me on Facebook at Dr. Beth Westy. And don't hesitate to ask me a question because I love answering questions just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So as we go through, it's really important that you realize that the first 2 weeks of your cycle are very different than the second 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks here, your body is a lot higher in estrogen. So estrogen is the dominant hormone. Important things that estrogen does is it increases your metabolism, increases your energy, it boosts your digestive system, which also helps with your immune system. You're going to have a better recovery from your workouts. You're going to get more energy, and you're going to be able to break down your food more, which again supplies that increase in energy. So just a few important things there. That I planned that. I meant to do that. I don't need it. That are important for estrogen. Also, one other thing that's going to come into play is that estrogen burns carbohydrates in your body. So you may notice that you feel a little hungry, or maybe you even crave carbs a little bit more during this time because your body's burning them more naturally. Great. Now, let's look at the second couple of weeks here. And again, this is a generalization. Not every woman is like this. Every body is different. If you're under stress, if you've had different things happen, had kids or something like that happen, you may have a different exact phase for you, but this is about what happens. Maybe your cycle is longer or shorter than 28 days. This is the first day of your period. This is when you ovulate, and this day 28 is when it ends and starts all over again. So day 14 is ovulation. That's when things really flip over. So the second phase here, these second couple of weeks, your body's higher in progesterone. Now, why is that important? Progesterone does something completely different in the body than what estrogen does. Progesterone actually increases your basal body temperature, which, if you aren't familiar with that, it's just taking your temperature first thing in the morning before you get up and wake up. Most women aren't concerned with what their basal body temperature is unless they're trying to get pregnant or something. But basal body temperature will increase here. Progesterone literally means progestation. So your body's getting prepped and ready to help sustain a viable embryo every month, thank you, whether or not it happens. So that's why the hormonal shift change happens. But again, if your cycle starts over again, know that the hormone shift is going to happen. Other things that progesterone does in the body that's very different than estrogen is that progesterone will actually decrease your digestive system. Your digestive tract will slow down, and it wants to absorb more nutrients from the body, but sometimes that can lead to other discomfort, sometimes heartburn, sometimes indigestion, sometimes constipation, some of these things. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. And there's a few different things that we talk about to help boost your digestion during this time. Other things that progesterone does is it actually burns fat naturally, which is kind of cool. And it also makes it harder, though, for your body to recover from a workout. So you may notice that you feel more tired towards the end of the day when you're in this phase here, days 14 to 28. And you may feel like, I did this workout and I pushed myself, but I just didn't feel like I had the oomph or the energy, and I really didn't come around well enough in terms of recovering and starting again fresh the next morning. I'm a little more sore, stuff like that. So nutritionally, there's different tweaks that we make to help swing that around faster and have your body recover faster. Also, progesterone burns fat. And it's important that, burning fat and burning carbs, two very different things. So we target different things to help your body burn more fat by switching the foods that you're eating. Pretty cool, huh? Now, when you're looking at this overall, and you can kind of understand, okay, your body's higher in estrogen here, progesterone here, does different things here versus here. So tweaking how you eat is going to help benefit one or the other. Now, the other thing about this plan as a whole is that it's not very rigid. It is not exclusive. It is not something where if you have one little, bite of cake, you ruin everything. No, not at all. When I go through the next phase and talking about how to eat for estrogen and how to eat for progesterone, keep in mind that if you're not sticking to it exactly all the time every day, that's okay. It's more about, in general, what are you following for that day and for the week? Are you doing more things that fall in line with estrogen for that day? Then good. Then you're going to be taking advantage of the benefits of estrogen. If you're doing more things that fall in line with progesterone during this phase here, then fantastic. Then you're going to be working with your progesterone more. So even if you eat something that's not exactly for progesterone, totally fine. A great way too to help shift into this is there's that list of spices that I gave, spices for cooking for estrogen versus for progesterone. Those are great tools to use just to shift kind of your daily meals a little bit that will impact you. Another question I get a lot of the time is when you're shifting how you're eating for hormones, is that women wonder if this is going to impact their spouse, their significant other, or husband, or children, or things like that. It will not impact them the same way because they do not have the underlying hormones that you have. So only if you have this base here, and then you're working with that, will you notice the increase in working with your body. If you don't have estrogen and progesterone like this, then it's not going to do the same thing. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. All right. Eating for estrogen, we're going to be focusing on cooling the body down. So the biggest thing here with cooling the body down is that we want to eat foods that are cooling, like I said before. So your basal body temperature is lower here, and then it increases here, and then it's higher over here. So following that trend, we're going to be eating cooler foods. Now, meats that are cooler meats are things like chicken, turkey, and fish. So again, like I said, if you're eating for estrogen and you eat something like beef, which is not a cooling food, are you going to ruin everything? No, you're not going to ruin everything. Just look at the entire day. Were you doing more things to cool your body down? Then great, then you're working with the estrogen. So chicken, turkey, fish, cooling meats. You're going to want to have more raw fruits and vegetables. Your body's digestive system is active more, so it's going to be able to break down the fibers in the raw fruits and vegetables a lot better. You're also going to want to have cooler beverages. Now this is room temperature or cooler. So if you like coffee, have iced coffee, iced tea. If you iced water more of the time. Again, if you like having a hot tea every day, great. Just alternate that then with some ice water to counteract the heat that hot tea would bring to your body. So really important things here. And we're going to go over in the next couple of weeks some benefits of carb cycling, what that is, what that does, and how to work with your body that way. Now, when we talk about warm foods for progesterone, complete opposite. Meats are going to be things like beef and bacon, very, very warming. You're going to want to have cooked fruits and vegetables, and then you're going to want to have room temperature or hot beverages. Another thing here, spices. So adding any type of spice to your food and peppers, things like that. Nightshade vegetables. Nightshade vegetables is a classification of eggplants, tomatoes, potatoes, things like that, and bell peppers are nightshade vegetables. Bring a lot of heat to the body, so those are warming. So again, if you have peppers during this phase, does it ruin everything? No. You just want to make sure you're shifting things a little bit differently to take advantage of the cooling aspect of estrogen. So by shifting your guidelines of how you're eating for cooling and warming, you're going to be working with estrogen more, which means that you're going to be able to burn more carb and shock your body's metabolism in a different way here. Here, when you're eating for progesterone, you're going to be able to work with the fat burning potential that your body has even better. Isn't that exciting? Okay. Now, another thing that we're going to talk about here, super fantastic. Everybody loves talking about hormones, I know. we're going to really cover the topic of stress and cortisol. So cortisol is the stress hormone that's released from your adrenal glands when you're under stress. A few important things to realize about cortisol is that it is something that happens in every living being on the planet. Now, when that stress happens, your body has a response and it releases that. You can't stop it from happening consciously. When your body goes under stress, it activates that mechanism. It's not something like you can hold it in. I'm not going to release the stress. No, your body just does it. But it's important to realize that there's different types of stress that happen in people. One is acute stress, so that's a quicker stress that occurs, meaning if you're under stress and you like slam on your brakes in traffic, your heart rate increases and your breathing gets faster, and then you get a little surge of adrenaline and you get that cortisol release. That's normal, that's healthy, your body responds quickly and it keeps you safe. Perfect. But oftentimes in people, what happens as well is that they have that stress response and then they almost get in an accident on the way to work. And then they get into work and they're late, so they're worried about that. And then the project that they're doing, oh my gosh, it's not quite done. And the person that was supposed to do their part of the project, they didn't do their part. And so now you're worried and frantic. And then, and it escalates and snowballs from there. That's called chronic stress, when you don't get a chance to get out of that stress cycle and it continues and continues and continues. When that happens, cortisol is continually released in the body and it has a very negative damaging effect on a lot of different systems, your endocrine system, your metabolism, your internal organs, your skin. I mean, you can see it in people's faces. When they get stressed out, you can see their face changes. And that's because of the reaction of what stress does to the body. So it's amazing. Now, there are a few other important things to realize about stress is that one thing is, yes, you want to stop that chronic stress cycle. But two, nutritionally, there are specific things we can do to help combat cortisol and the effect that cortisol has. Okay, now when we talk about cortisol and how it's stored in the body, a few things that are really important to realize is that it will get stored inside your fat cells. So in talking about fat cells, we're going to be looking at, so these are normal fat cells in your body. Again, these are just an example. And they're like thin, flat little pancakes. Now, you're born with just about the same number of fat cells that you have now. So when people gain and lose weight, you're not getting more or less fat cells. They're just getting bigger or smaller. So when they get bigger because they store more energy. So this is an example then of them getting bigger because they're storing more energy. So they basically just blow up like a big balloon. Now, the reason they store energy here when your body's under cortisol, so this will happen if you eat too much energy, food, your body will store it in these fat cells if it's not taken care of. But when your body's under cortisol and under a lot of stress, this happens at a different level because of the stress. Because what happens is that your body takes protein and then it converts it into sugar through a process called gluconeogenesis. So this is what cortisol's reaction in the body does. It takes the good healthy proteins you're eating, converts it into sugar. What that sugar does then is it gets stored in these fat cells, as well as any excess cortisol bits will get stored in here too. Now we'll go through a process at the next talk where I will go through specifically how to target the cortisol and really kind of flush that out of the body, target these fat cells specifically, because it is different to target these fat cells than just to sort of work out. Nutritionally, we tweak some things to target that, to target that cortisol and excess energy. But know that when you're increased in cortisol and stressed, your protein that you're eating, some of it, and sometimes a lot of it, gets turned into sugar, which gets stored. So we combat that by eating more protein, by increasing the amount of protein that we're getting in your body. Now, it's very important that the protein is clean and healthy, and your digestive system is working at top speed to break it down so you absorb those nutrients. Then you're getting more protein in your body and not as much is getting converted to sugar proportionally, and that's how you're going to combat the effect of cortisol on your weight and your fat cells. Now, so I talked about a few different things. We're going to go through protein in just a minute, but first we're going to talk about your digestive system because it's got to break those proteins down and it's got to absorb everything. So when we talk about how to increase your digestive system, it's really important that we kick that off right from the beginning of the day. And that means that from the moment you wake up, there's a few things how to start your day really efficiently and effectively to boost your digestive system, to digest the most the rest of the day. We're going to go over that. It's going to be super exciting. So one of the first things that you add in, apple cider vinegar, lemon water. We'll talk a little bit about adaptogens. We'll go over this more next time too. At the next series, we're going to be talking a lot more about how to flush out that cortisol, really target that, and then more about adaptogens and the effect on the cortisol levels. But just know that by starting to increase your protein, you're going to shift things over as well. And then probiotic. So apple cider vinegar is really important. It helps alkaline the body, and it helps increase your digestive tract by releasing digestive enzymes. A couple of different ways to take the apple cider vinegar. You can take, an ounce, maybe 2 ounces, put it in like a small glass, and just take it, throw it right back from the bottle, swig it, and then chase it with some lemon water. Sure. You can also mix the apple cider vinegar and lemon water together. So this is just a glass of lemon water. For lemon water, you can use lemon juice, like from the pre-squeezed already, like lemon juice, that little bottle or container. Sometimes it looks like a little plastic lemon. You can use fresh lemons, like take a half or a quarter of a lemon, squeeze the juice in there, and then put some of the slices in there as well. Or you can use essential oils, lemon essential oils in a glass of water. One of the things to think about when you're doing the lemon water is cool water or warm water in accordance with where you are in your cycle. So this is going to help. So you can just throw back the apple cider vinegar and chase it with the lemon water, or you can mix these two together and get it in your body that way. And again, there's a few different forms of how to get the lemon water in. Very important though for boosting your digestive system and starting things off wonderfully for the day. Adaptogens is a classification of Eastern medicine herbs which helps diminish the negative effect of cortisol in your body. When cortisol is released, it's like a wildfire through everything, damaging a ton of things, making it harder to burn fat, making it harder to really increase your metabolism and everything else. So this is where women are like, oh, I'm eating well, I'm working my butt off at the gym, and I'm just not getting the results, but I'm stressed, and what do I do? Sometimes adding in an adaptogen changes things like that, because that cortisol then is not allowed to run rampant in your body. It mutes the negative effect that it has. It's phenomenal. So things that are adaptogens, I know which sound weird when in Eastern medicine, if you're not familiar with some of these terms, then we'll talk about this more next time. But some of the things to look at are things like wolfberry, things like ashwagandha, bacopa. Very, very important. And they do different things in the body too. I like a blend of these adaptogens because you get a lot of the benefits that affect different systems all in one. Bacopa, for example, is really good for memory, whereas ashwagandha is really good for calming your system down. So 2 different things, both positively impacting the body, but I take them at once. All right, last thing here. So I'll take these things in the morning. Sometimes I'll just throw back the apple cider vinegar, have my glass of lemon water, take my adaptogens, and then get a probiotic in. And probiotics are really important. You want an active culture. This is not just something where you're taking it in a yogurt, right? This is a specific probiotic that you can get in a powder form and mix in a drink as well. You can get it in a capsule. So there's a lot of different forms of this, but getting that probiotic in, again, at the beginning of the day, very, very important for boosting your digestive system for the rest of the day. After you do this protocol right away in the morning, so it should just take a couple of minutes, but it's really important to kick things off. You're going to boost your immune system, process all that protein a lot better. After this, you're going to want to start your day then with some healthy fats. That's going to help level your blood sugars out the rest of the day, and it's going to boost your immune system and your metabolism. So adding in your either add to your morning shake or have with your first breakfast, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil is a healthy fat to have right away in the morning. Some people just take 2 tablespoons and get it down. Great. Really, really helps to level your blood sugars the rest of the day, so you're not getting that crash in the afternoon. And then last thing that I will go over is talking about protein and the importance of protein. So when we're talking about having multiple meals per day, there's a few important keys here. Now, most people are familiar with eating a high protein diet because it supports the lean muscle mass and everything else. And yes, you want to do that. Every cell in your body uses protein. So you want to, what I call, top heavy your body with protein so that you are taking advantage of the benefits of having increased protein in your body. Your cells get to have enough, and then your lean muscles get to have that extra amount. Oftentimes when your body is stressed and taxed, and it turns that protein that you're eating into sugar and stores it, then it gets energy from the protein that it needs from your muscles. That's why it gets to be so hard, and that's why you get so fatigued when you're under stress, because your muscles are being used for the energy instead of the fat cells like you want. So we teach your body how to switch that over by increasing the amount of protein that you're eating. So amounts would be, say, an amount to start with, and this depends on your lean body mass. But an example to start with would be, say, 126 grams for the day, which is sometimes a lot, right? People are like, oh my God, how do I do that? How do I do that? Well, here we go. 1, 2, 3, we're going to eat about 6 meals a day because you want to eat every 2 to 3 hours. You never want to go more than 4 hours without eating, and here's why. Your body burns the food that you're eating in different patterns. So first it burns the carbs, and then it burns protein, and then it burns fat. So it burns through your carbohydrates, sometimes in 5 minutes if you're eating a simple sugar like candy or something. And sometimes if it's a complex carb, maybe it'll burn in an hour. So up to an hour, 1 hour for the carbohydrates. Proteins get burned in 2 to 3 hours. So that's why you want to continually feed your body proteins, fuel your body with proteins. You'll notice in the meal plans that meals 1 through 6 are complete nutrients, so protein, fat, and carb in them to help keep things evened out. We're never overloading or underloading your body with protein or carb or anything like that. It's just being evenly distributed. So protein every 2 to 3 hours there. That's when it's burned and you're done with it. Your metabolism's a little bit faster, then it'll be on the shorter end of that. Fat can last for up to 4 hours in the body. So if you're going more than 4 hours in the body without eating, you are on empty. Your gas tank is empty. What happens when your gas tank is empty? The car doesn't go. What happens when your body, when it runs out of energy, it shuts down your metabolism. So this is where people, not understanding how this mechanism works, will really kind of shoot themselves in the foot in terms of getting to their results. So if you're not eating at least every 4 hours and not eating proteins, fats, and carbs every time you're eating, you're not fueling your body and you're not going to get the same results. So that's why we want to eat more frequently throughout the day to increase your metabolism because of how fast things burn through your body. Okay, so at each meal then, in terms of getting a higher amount of protein, it's super easy then because you just shoot for about 21 grams of protein at each meal. Simple. So a lot of times women will I had an apple for a snack. Okay, great. Not a lot of protein there, and barely any protein in an apple. It's healthy, yes, but you're going to want to try and get, if you're having, say, an after lunch snack or whatnot, you want to make sure you're getting like some peanut butter or cheese or something where you're getting, around 21 grams of protein. Now, for example, say you have a snack and there's only 10 grams of protein in it. Oh, did you ruin everything? No. Just try and increase the protein then at your next meal or mini meal or snack. So instead of getting 21, shoot for 31 then. That way you are making up the difference, and at the end of the day, you're going to be getting that higher amount of protein, which means there's more available for your lean muscles, which means your body's not going to store as much sugar, and you're going to be able to increase your metabolism and get the results that you want. Okay, now one last piece on protein, as we will talk about types of protein, because not all proteins are created equal. So very, very important that we chat about where your protein is coming from. So this is a diagram of your digestive system. Your whole digestive tract is like a tube. And this is the inside of the tube. Here's these little cells in there that line the entire thing. They're finger-like projections called microvilli. They increase the surface area of everything to absorb more of the nutrients from the food that you're eating. Great. Now there's a few protein molecules that are enormous. in the body, largest ones available. You got some small ones here, and then teeny tiny ones here. So just looking at the size of these protein molecules, you can probably guess which ones are the easiest to absorb. These are fine to absorb and then really tough to absorb based on their enormous size. The sheer fact that your body can't break them down. When you digest it, I mean, yes, you can break off maybe small chunks of it, but know that you're not going to be able to break it apart completely and absorb all the protein from this. It's just physiologically not possible for the human body to do this. This protein molecule is a soy protein. Soy proteins are huge. The next one is a processed soy protein molecule. So I recommend that if you're looking for a protein bar, protein shake, and if you have questions, I would love to make sure you are getting the right thing in your body. If you're not getting the right thing in your body, it's going to negatively affect your results. And here's one of the reasons why. If part of it is soy, when you think you're getting, say, 20 grams of protein, oh, this shake has 20 grams of protein. This is a protein bar. It's got 20 grams of protein. Woo! Super excited. It's soy protein. You're not absorbing it. You're not breaking it down. Maybe you're getting 3 grams from that soy source. Not good. The other thing it does is that because these little cells and those molecules are so huge, is that it comes banging around in your digestive system and it irritates the crap out of those cells, which means they're not going to absorb the nutrients as well either. Again, making it even tougher to absorb positive nutrients from the food that you're eating. Now, these molecules here, these are things like whey proteins, meats, dairy, a lot smaller and easier to absorb. If you are looking at a whey protein source, it's very important that you're getting the right thing. There's a lot of things out there that have a lot of fillers, garbage, artificial sweeteners, and things like that, which actually also have the same effect on your cells, which means you don't absorb the nutrients in it. So they'll put like a whey protein in there, but if there's artificial crap in that product, then it does this to the cells and you can't absorb it. Even though it's floating around there, it can't get through. So let me know if you have questions on that, but that's a really important thing to understand. The last teeny tiny bits of protein here, these are things like pea proteins, hemp proteins, rice proteins. Very small. Also, nuts and things like that are going to fall right around this area too. Nuts and seeds, very easy to break down and absorb into the body. So, very important things to understand about your protein. Again, if you're looking at a whey source here and say there's 20 grams of protein here, if you're getting the right protein, you should be absorbing 18 to 19 grams of that 20. So in terms of trying to get to the 126 for the day, you're going to be a heck of a lot closer than if you're getting this, because the math just isn't going to be able to add up. All right, so hopefully that is helpful and gets everybody started off on the right foot. I'm super excited. I am looking forward to being part of your transformation and to help you guys achieve amazing results with working with your body naturally. So I look forward to chatting with you guys again.